Okay, today is February 9th, and just a reminder, I won't be here after school today because I have a doctor's appointment, but I will be, nope, I won't be here after school on Wednesday either because I have a meeting. Thursday I'll be here and Friday I'll be here. But anyway, going back to this, today's lecture is called the Royal Proclamation of 1763. And of course, I'm basing my presentation on ushistory.org, the online textbook we use. I'm Mrs. Pines, and you all know that. And like I said, it's February the 9th. Let's make sure that you have your proper heading. This is our second in this series on the events that led to revolution. And so our first event that leads to revolution that we're going to look at closely is called the Royal Proclamation of 1763. So let's go a little more in depth because we want to talk about the Treaty of Paris, which is going to lead to the Royal Proclamation, oh my goodness, Mrs. Pines, Proclamation of 1763. So for your first area, you're going to, for your first slide, which means your first area of notes, you are going to write about the Treaty of Paris 1763. We know that that treaty ended the French and Indian War. We also know that that treaty gave the British a whole bunch of new land, but we know that land means money, and that's a good thing, we think, but money means problems, always. So one of the things that we need to look at is what did the British get when they gained that whole land, bunch of new land? Well, they gained this beautiful place called the Ohio Valley. Now, on one side, the Ohio Valley is bordered by the Appalachian, Appalachian, mountains on the east. Remember that the Appalachian Mountains border the colonies on the west, and it borders the Ohio Valley just on the other side on the east, and goes all the way over to the Mississippi River on the west. So you have this beautiful land, and it is fertile. It's a place where you can grow things. And the British said to the colonists, oh no, there you will not go. And the colonists said, say what? Okay, why did they say what? Well, before we say what, let's look at a map that shows us once again what the British gained from the Treaty of Paris 1763. All right, so if we look at that yellow area, the yellow area is all of the British claims from 1763. The green area, which is a teeny tiny area right there, are the French claims, like nothing. The Spanish claims are all that huge red area, and then the Russian claims are this teeny tiny little area up here over in what we now know as Alaska, etc., the Bering Strait and all that. So great, we have, look at all this yellow new land that the colonists who are desperate, remember they're getting overcrowded, they're desperate to have new land and areas to go, so that rebellions like the Paxton brothers, Paxton boys and Bacon's rebellions, maybe those things wouldn't keep happening if we had places to go. But no, there you will not go, because you have to stay on this side of this line right here. You can't go past that little line, okay? And I just drew all over this map. I hope to God it actually shows my drawings without just making them be there. So we'll see, because this is kind of cool. And you will be learning how to do this soon. I'm going to let you go loose on this pretty quickly. All right, so moving on, we want to now look at why the British were saying, no, you cannot go west, young man. So your next area for your notes, so the next category or division, I want you to title it, Don't Go West, Young Man. Okay, that's a play on a famous statement about go west, young man, that we're going to see later. But right now the British are saying, nope, don't go west, young man. And they're saying this because the British government felt that it had had so much trouble overseeing the 13 colonies as they were, they couldn't handle it if this people spread out even more. But you know that Ohio Valley really called to them because it was extremely fertile farmland. Plus, here's a problem. What you wouldn't have thought is this. The French and Native Americans still lived there. You see, the French government left, not the French people who necessarily settled there. In fact, my grandma is descended from the French and Native Americans who settled there. All right? The British government was afraid of another war starting over the land because these people still lived there. They couldn't just look at them and say, okay, you have to leave too. They had their land there, their homes there. Plus, we have the Native Americans who keep fighting after the war has been declared over because as far as they're concerned, it's not over. One famous fighter is Pontiac. And if you remember, Adam even talks about Pontiac being originally, when he was a little boy, a bad guy who becomes a good guy because he continues to rebel. All right? So, we have the British saying, don't go west. And in fact, they're so serious about saying don't go west, they make a Royal Proclamation, which is essentially saying a law. A Royal Proclamation is a law. And in that Royal Proclamation, what they're saying is, don't cross the Appalachian Mountains and settle over the Appalachian Mountains, period. You cannot go there, okay? The proclamation set the boundaries of the 13 colonies. In other words, it set borders. It set official borders to the colonies. The government felt it couldn't afford another war, nor any more governmental resources like more troops to protect the colonists. So, in fact, Pontiac, who is pictured here, Pontiac's rebellion, where the natives kept fighting and were brutal about it, was a major reason for this proclamation. This British government simply felt it could not continue to keep their British citizens who lived on American soil safe if they spread out. So let's take a look at how the British colonists responded to that. When we look at this picture. This picture was actually painted in 1851, but it depicts about a 1750 era's Daniel Boone, yes, you've heard of him, leading settlers through the Cumberland Gap, which is over the Appalachian Mountains through Pennsylvania, actually. And what they're saying is, you know, because those colonists are really good at following those acts and laws, not 1750s, I'm sorry, 1760s, because that's breaking the law. These guys moved west, and a lot of them moved west before that proclamation. So what do we do about these guys who already live over there? And Daniel Boone is one famous example of that. All right, now we talk about the fact that, you know, you make a proclamation. In my classroom, you will no longer chew gum. Well, you're not used to that, so it would inflame you. It would make you mad when I've let you chew gum all year long as you don't put it anywhere. And you followed that rule. So, your next title is Proclaim and Inflame. And Ian, quit laughing in my ear. Yes, you are. All right, so they made the proclamation and the colonists were furious. They were inflamed. Why had they shed blood fighting in the French and Indian War? For what purpose did they help keep that land or clear that land? What was the reason? Of course they thought that they were fighting to gain more land that they could use. And on top of all that, remember, we have American colonists like Daniel Boone who already live over the Appalachian Mountains. What about them? Are they just going to be ignored, forgotten, arrested? Who knows? And then remember all those unhappy former indentured servants and all the sons and daughters being born who needed their own places to go because the colonies were becoming crowded. So what about all those people? What about their desire to make their own ways? Well, the colonists felt that this proclamation of 1763 was basically a micromanaging move by the British government. The British government that was already taking so much from them, in their opinion. And guess what the colonists did? What they always do. They ignored this law too. They ignored the Navigation Acts, and now they're going to ignore the proclamation of 1763. And in moving toward the events that led to the revolution, by ignoring the proclamation of 1763, by making the proclamation of 1763, the two sides have yet another reason to distrust each other. All right, go ahead and collaborate with your partner. Use your colored ink and all that kind of lovely stuff. Write your questions and your answers, and start to build an idea of what led to our revolution. Okay?
I mean, they didn't really ignore the navigation laws. Britain didn't enforce them.
That's
Salutary neglect.
salutary neglect. Oh, you want a lecture now?
I'll teach the class. I'll do better than you.
You'll do better than me?
Probably.
Any day of the week, baby. Any day I'll take you down.
Also, the thing is 1763, they can't enforce it, so
It's
it's
true.
basically not a law.
Just like, yes, and so this is another example of salutary neglect because they simply can't enforce this because it's too far away, too big, and they don't have enough resources to do it. So basically, they're sitting in a situation where they simply cannot control. What was it? What was our quote? Woe to the parent who doesn't control the child and then tries to. I'm paraphrasing. All right, go ahead and get your things done. Want to say bye, Ian?
No, it's alright.
All right, that's all right. Bye, Ian.